Hey folks, my name is Jen, and today on this very snowy day, we are going to talk about the books that I read in December, finally. The kitty cat who wants to say hi, right Binks? Nope. Oof. She's like, no, get off of me. Typical black cat behavior. So in December, I read 4 books. And, 3 of them were audiobooks, actually. So, let's get, chatting about those. And all of the audiobooks I read also were, all romance novels. So, well, one of them was a romance novella. That was actually called Missile Foe by Kimberly Lemming. And it is just a little novella about a girl who ends up getting pulled into a whole bunch of otherworldly shenanigans because she ends up coming across this like fox demon. This is in the same universe as the Mead Mishaps series that I've talked about before. You know, that time I got drunk and saved a demon and all of those. So demon is just like creature, so this is like really a fox like spirit. If you're a fan of anime, then I guess you could think of this like any anime that contains like a fox demon or a fox shit. I know an Inugami is a dog demon. I can't remember what the fox version is called, but it's that same general idea. That's basically what this guy is. And she kind of gets involved with him, not exactly to her liking in the beginning, and gets kind of pulled into, like I said, otherworldly shenanigans involving also being like part of this otherworldly get-together with a whole bunch of other demons and stuff like that. And it takes place around like their version of Christmas, sort of, like a solstice, basically. It's like it's a winter solstice thing. So seasonally appropriate. I don't usually do well with seasonally appropriate romance novels because not everything, I can't say about everything because I haven't tried everything out there, but the ones that I have tried have always ended up reading like a Hallmark Christmas movie, and I honestly really hate those a lot. So I just usually don't have a good time, but this was actually a good time. There was a part, again, with the damn spider things. So what these creatures are, they are featured in another one of the Kimberly Lemming books, the same universe things. So you know, like a centaur is a half horse, half man deal, man half up top, horse bottom. These things are called spitors, and they're the same deal. Human part up top, spider bottom. Absolute fucking nightmare fuel for someone who has arachnophobia like me. I'm gonna have to stop talking about them in a second because it's just, I have goosebumps all over my entire body right now. I hate that. It was not great. I did not enjoy that part at all. But the rest of the novella was admittedly very cute. Parts of it were, there was one part of it, like a love rival part of it, that was a little bit predictable to me. But everything else besides that and the creature, it was cute and funny because Kimberly Lemming, it's hilarious, and also spicy. And I wasn't exactly impressed with the fox at the beginning of the story because he just seemed very like pushy and a little bit much, but I did like him by the end of it, and overall it was a very enjoyable read. I really liked the audiobook of it. Was it the same narrator? I think it might have been the same narrator. It's been a while. I listened to this at the beginning of December. so I can't quite remember, but I think it was the same narrator that did the other ones. But it was pretty good. So I gave that one, Mistletoe, 4 stars. Another audiobook that I read was Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed, which I now own a physical copy of. As you can see, I am rereading it. And that is because I've started the show, and I wanted to reread this. Plus, I also, besides getting a physical copy of this, I also bought the sequel to it, The Long Game. So I wanted to reread this so that I can hop into that one right afterwards. But anyway, back in December I listened to an audiobook of this, which, let me tell you, was an experience. But then again, I've also been listening to the more of the Ice Planet Barbarians right now, and I don't know why I get more, like, mortified when men are talking sexy things than when women are talking sexy things, but I get even more just absolutely scandalized. So, oh, it was a thing. Anyway, really good audiobook. This is you probably know what this is about. It's been fucking everywhere. You living under a rock. But anyway, in case you don't know, this is a slow burn-ish, kind of, it's a weird slow burn, let me tell you. The love part is the slow burn. The spicy is not. There's spicy in the first chapter, which is not usually my thing. But I was okay with it. So anyway, this is about 2 hockey players. It starts in their rookie season, like right before their rookie season, actually, the summer or year before that. And it is about Shane Hollander and Ilya Rosanov. And Hollander is from Ottawa, up in Canada. He ends up getting drafted into the Montreal Voyageurs fake team, and Ilya Rosanov is from Russia, and he ends up getting drafted into the Boston Bears, also fake team. So it's the Boston Bruins, and I actually do not remember what the Montreal team name is. Don't come for me, Canada. I'm an American. You know we don't keep track of shit like that. The only team I do know is the Toronto Maple Leafs, because I was always told that they were the enemy to the Boston Bruins, but now I'm hearing that Montreal actually is. I don't know. I like hockey. I like watching it, but I don't pay a super ton of attention to all of that. It's more like a casual enjoyment, kind of how I feel about the Olympics. I love it when it's on, and I barely think about it otherwise. Not very sports-centered. Anyways, these 2 are set up as rivals because they're both amazing players, amazing, like, rookie players, drafted right into, like, big teams, and this rivalry just kind of builds and builds over the years. But other things have been building over the years is their relationship. The 2 have a couple of moments early on in their careers that end up becoming hookup pals, and eventually very slowly morphing into maybe a little bit more than just hookup pals. When I say slow burn, it's like 7 years of their developing relationship, and it is told through these time periods when they are getting together and things are happening, basically, or key moments in their relationship, situationship turning into a relationship are happening. Damn. It is a hockey romance with not a lot of hockey in it, but you know what? That's okay. It is the right balance, I think. It is cute. It is funny. It is super spicy. I learned some things that I did not really know before, in more than one way. I had a really good time with the audiobook, even though, like I said, I was kind of mortified for about 90% of it. I am enjoying my actual physical reread of this very much. It's so cute. I have not read that many gay romances, to be completely honest, but I think that this might be the best one that I have read to this point. Maybe. I don't know. I did really enjoy Red, White, and Royal Blue. I did really like that one. Anyway, this is just so good. It's so cute. Like I said, just absolutely adorable. I have been giggling while reading this, halfway because mildly mortified, and also just pleased because this is pretty funny. And I don't like enemies to lovers, honestly. It's not a trope that I'm really that into, and I think the trouble is that I think really with the enemies thing, I've never really fully, I guess, understood the whole I hate you, but damn do I want to bone you thing. I just have never understood that, because when I'm angry at someone, all I am is angry at them. Like, depending on how angry I am at them, the only physical thing I want to do with them is probably punch them in the face. So I've never understood that whole, like, suddenly anger turns to making out against a wall or something like that. I've never really grasped that at all. So enemies to lovers has never been like a major thing for me. But I do have to say, rivals to lovers honestly is making just a teensy bit more sense to me, because it's like I'm understanding it's not like a hate exactly. They're saying that they hate each other, they really don't. They are competitive with each other, and I kind of can understand that a little bit more in the competition, that drive to both be the best, the idea that they are frustrated because they are both exceptional players and have so much pressure on them to be the best, and prior to meeting each other they were the best within their arenas, and now because they are constantly having this rivalry with each other, it's like they're not always the best. They're constantly competing not only on their teams but with each other to be the best that they can be, and that brings out even more competitiveness into them. So I can kind of understand that a little bit more, I guess, of this competition rivalry thing, wanting to always be the best but enjoying that because they are challenging each other on the ice. And I can understand that, maybe that challenge of each other presenting itself in other ways. I can kind of understand that a little bit more. It's not that they actually have a hatred or malice towards each other or issues, you know, often like a true enemies to lovers situation or something like that. They don't want each other dead. They get frustrated with each other, but ultimately they are invigorated by each other, I guess. Or yeah, I guess that's what I'm gonna say. So I can more understand, I guess, a rivals to lovers situation more. But anyway, yeah, this is great. Totally worth the hype. I gave Heated Revelry 4 stars, and like I said, I'm reading it again. And then the other audiobook that I read was A Soul to Keep by Opal Rain, which is the first of the Duskwalker series. This was a whole new kettle of fish for me. I think whereas the others are definitely, like, these are still within the romance novel vein. A Soul to Keep, I guess it's still in the romance vein, although some of the things in there I was like, this is moving more towards just pure smut. It is definitely, I have to say, the weirdest, one of the weirdest romance novels I've ever read. I don't tend to read a lot of adventurous monster type things. I do have a couple of sentient ones on my list just because I've heard them hyped up on podcasts and they sound kind of funny, so I might check them out at some time, but I've never, despite the fact that I've read shifter romances and different stuff like that, this is the first pure, like, absolutely weird monster romance I've ever read, and I think based on the contents, does this count under dark romance? dark romantasy, possibly something like that. I'm thinking maybe that's technically the genre, because there's a lot of dark shit, gory shit in this in this book. Basically, the Duskwalker, or it's the Duskwalker Brides series, is in a world where basically it sounds like it's our world, but shit happened at some point. Instead of having like normal whatevers, it is stuck kind of in a medieval, not medieval, but there's no electricity, there's no real good transportation and stuff like that. Everything's just kind of stopped because a rift was opened and a whole bunch of these creatures came through. Cat, stop chewing on that box. No, bad girl. This is a world in which, yeah, all of these creatures have kind of come through, and they are, you know, not good. They kill humans. They desire to consume humans. And the thing is that some of these creatures, or demons rather, are known more as Duskwalkers. They are a little bit more sentient and intelligent. They tend to walk upright. They have more humanoid forms than other creatures, though they are kind of made up of different creatures. It's explained more in the book about how things kind of happen, but basically whatever they can, when they consume a lot of humans, that increases their own humanity and sentience. So these specific Duskwalkers have actually probably consumed a lot of humans. And this one starts out with Orpheus, who is a Duskwalker who is looking for a bride. He is looking for a companion, hopefully someone who could love him, but he'll just accept someone who would be willing to just be a companion with him, because he is lonely. He's pretty much probably going to live forever unless he's destroyed. And it is a lonely, lonely existence. And so he desires to find someone else to care about. And he ends up coming across, oh my goodness, I forgot what her name is. That's terrible. This girl, she is hated by her entire village, basically because when she was a little girl, demons attacked her home, which was outside the safety of the village, and they destroyed her entire family, and she was the only one who was left alive. The village has taken care of her, but she is ostracized and thought of as a bad omen because she was the one survivor, and for some reason she wasn't eaten. So yeah, the whole village looks at her as like this total bad omen. She brings trouble and death upon her, and though they help her survive, they also don't treat her very nicely. They hate her. She's not allowed to look at them, speak to them, have anything to do with them, really. So she kind of grows up like this, being totally alone and ostracized, and not really fully understanding what happens, lots of guilt, lots of just anger in general. And she is chosen as a possible bride for the Duskwalker, because every like 10 years the Duskwalker comes through and picks another bride. So Orpheus takes her, and it starts off as a relationship, I guess maybe similar to like a Beauty and the Beast kind of situation a little bit, if the Beast actually wanted to eat Belle, I suppose is what this is. These creatures feed off of fear. Like, fear is what drives them mad and makes them want to consume humans. So if you're afraid, they're gonna want to eat you, you know? And he kind of makes that clear to her, but he also wants to take care of her because he kind of hopes that maybe this one will be different, because unfortunately all the others, he has either eaten them or they tried to escape, or maybe something else got them. They tried to escape, and it just, things did not go well, basically. He has never been able to have another companion be with him. But she's a little different. She doesn't fully trust him and wants to get away, but at the same time, the main reason why she wants to get away is because she wanted to get out of that village anyway. She wanted to be able to travel and see the world and do all these things. She doesn't want to be stuck in one place for the rest of her life. It's not really being totally afraid of him. It's more she doesn't want to be stuck. But she does take an interest in him. And things are like awkward because he has to do this spell to like bathe her in like this scent so other demons don't come sniffing around and trying to attack and stuff like that. So she's always gotta be naked and he's gotta like bathe her. So like things are like, from the get-go, things are awkward. So, you know, shenanigans continue. There is more than one occasion where this guy wants to eat her. And it's so weird because it's like a constant struggle between whether or not Orpheus wants to eat her or bone her. It's like it was interesting. I will have to say, I was not a fan of the gory things. Like really at all. I am not a fan of gore anyway, so I was not really into some of the descriptive parts of the gore. I was like, that's disgusting. Thanks for that. It was very confusing for me to be reading this book and being like, I don't like this creepy monster guy with his skull, you know? But at the same time, I was like, this is kind of endearing. What the hell? Is very awkward. I questioned a lot about my life choices while reading this. His description is like he is covered in fur, but he also has fish scales, but he also has like, I think feathery bits. But he's got like a head, you'll see on the cover of the book, he's got like it's giving Ancient Magus Bride, if you've watched or read that series. It's very much, actually I should look up more about this author again. I don't know if she was inspired by the Ancient Magus Bride or whatever. I never finished that series, I really should. But yeah, it's like, it's very reminiscent of that, only dirtier. So he's got like he's like full skull with like the antler things up here, and then he's got like a part of his ribs I think are exposed too, his bony ribs, and then he's got the, I don't know, he's a monster. He's a full-blown like a chimera basically of creatures, and his eyes change color depending on what he's feeling. He can't really kiss because he's a skull, but he has a long tongue. So think about that for a few seconds. And I don't want to talk about his junk, but I just have to say, if you don't have children or if you don't have them around you and you are willing to take the save search off of your computer to look at artwork, not safe for work artwork of what he's got going on downstairs, there's plenty of it out there, because I was reading this and I was like, the fuck? Actually, and then I ended up looking up because I was like, I think I can visualize this, but I need more of a visualization. There's plenty of it. If you want to know what this guy's got going on in his furry bottom, like, you can look up artwork of it. It's out there. It's detailed. It's a lot. I didn't know whether to be titillated or laugh my ass off while I was reading some of these scenes, just based on the descriptive parts of this dude's junk. Like, absolutely hilarious. And very strange. Yeah. Interesting story overall. Again, don't know how I feel about him for the majority of the book not knowing whether he wanted to eat her or bone her. That was very confusing. I did like most of the way it was written except for the gory bits. The sex scenes were oddly enticing despite his weird peen. And then you also have the ending, which I was not actually a huge fan of, to be completely honest. I wasn't a big fan of it. I don't know if I will be continuing this series at all. One of my besties who is a fan of the series warned me about some of the contents in the second book that might be troubling for me, so if I do decide to read any more, I might skip book 2 and just go for book 3. But yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure if I want to continue with it at all. I think this might be my line with weird spicy scenes. This might be the line that I am drawing in the sand here. This is just a step too weird for me. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting though, if I guess if you're a fan of The Ancient Magus Bride, I've only watched like 2 episodes of that, so I can't really say for certain, but if you're a fan of that kind of idea, or Beauty and the Beast, but you want to make it really weird, maybe check this out. I would definitely check trigger warnings though, because dear God, some things that were in there. But yeah, interesting all around. I did end up giving it 4 stars because I felt like maybe I was just being a little bit too harsh on it at the time because I was just confused by a large section of it. But interesting still. And the audiobook is not too bad. And the last book that I read in December was, of course, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I read this twice as per usual. I listened to a audiobook of it, and I read the physical copy of the book. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It is a classic story of a rich, terrible, cheapskate, stingy old man who gets the shit scared out of him by a bunch of ghosts and gets changed for the better. We love to see it. I love this book. It makes me happy every time I read it. I love Dickens' descriptions. The description in the chapter about the Ghost of Christmas Present, where it's like talking about what Christmas looks like in London, is probably one of my favorite descriptive passages ever. I really love the sense of humor that is like so dry and kind of dark in a couple of spots. I really just love that humor overall. I love how this book is so short, yet you can end up caring so much about some of the characters just within these pages that you can care enough when somebody is dead or hurt. I love overall the message of this book. That Jacob Marley, who is Scrooge's friend, the ghost of Jacob Marley, says to Scrooge, he should have done more in his life, and Scrooge responds, "You were a good man of business," and Jacob Marley replies to him, "Business? Mankind was my business." That's the whole point, actually caring about others on this mortal coil. I'm paraphrasing what Dickens said, basically, but that's the whole point of this book, is actually giving a shit. And I think that this is one of those books that everyone should read at least once. I think everyone should take that message to heart, and I absolutely adore this book, and it's also a very accessible, very readable classic. So there should be no excuses as to not reading it. Anyway, yeah, I love this. It is one of my favorites of all time. Like I said, it is forever a 5-star. There you go. So yeah, that was everything I read in December. It was, I think, a fairly good way to end a rather shitty year. But yeah, that was it. Let me know what you thought of any of these books, if you have read any of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for always watching. If you are new here and would like to subscribe, please indeed do so. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.